everyone. Welcome to Fresh Takes with Russo and Felice. I'm Russo. Across from me is Nick Felice. Nick, how are you doing today? I'm sorry, a little bit technical difficulties here.
I'd like to have a screen, Paul.
I'm working. I'm struggling right
Take
now.
off the two. You're fine. Take off the two.
First show, people. First show.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
You're fine. There you go.
There we go.
Oh, what's going on? So, my name is Nick Felice, Nicky Fresh. That's why the show is called Fresh Takes with Russo and Felice. Is it Russo and Felice or is it Felice Russo?
It's Russo and Felice per the title card.
Should be Felice Russo. But anyway, we are a podcast. We're a podcast. We used to be shooting shows in our own den, Paul.
Well, it was your den technically, but yeah, we were together in that den for a little bit. Had about 5 episode run over there, and luckily, thanks to Jim and everyone here at Finger Lakes One, we're over here now.
Yeah, 5 episodes. It took us to get to here. I cannot wait to see what happens in the next 5. Maybe we'll be on Fox News.
I hope.
ESPN?
I don't know about that. I kind of like this setting a little bit better than that. But,
Oh, yeah, definitely better than the couch.
yeah, so, the overall podcast feel of this, you really get some sports, you really get some pop culture. Hopefully, we're just going to have some fun with it. Hopefully, you guys have some fun as well, the listeners and viewers who tune in. And, hopefully, we can take this on a run for a while and hopefully provide you some insight.
Let's start a franchise, Paul.
Hopefully, that's the plan. I want a dynasty. I want the franchise. I want everything. Don't you agree?
Of course, Paul.
Yeah, so we're going to give you a quick overlay of what we got on deck for tonight. A little bit of some NHL action, some playoff action, a little bit of rap beef. And then, of course, we'll fly into some Triple Crown talk, and we'll round out the show with some U.S. Open discussion. I know Nick is really looking forward to the end of that.
Oh, I can't wait for some rap beef.
Yeah. So we're going to jump right in here to the first one. We're going to hop into the NHL playoffs, Stanley Cup final. Big playoff run, really, overall, the whole entire year this year. Capitals, certainly. The 2 teams in the final, Washington Capitals and the Vegas Golden Knights. 2 teams you really didn't expect, in my opinion, to be in the final there. I know it was certainly one that a final that it didn't go as long as I'd hoped for. It really gave a vibe, in my opinion, especially out of the gate with the first 2 games, that was going to go 7. We going to go the distance. And we never got there, unfortunately. Capitals 1-5. And now we got Ovechkin with the Stanley Cup that he's longed for.
Well-deserved.
Certainly well-deserved.
And I think we can all agree, Paul, that you are a bigger hockey fan than I am.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I saw maybe 4 playoff games this year.
Really?
Yeah, I did catch Game 5 of the NHL with the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
And I think Ovi deserved it. He was on my fantasy team. We went 5-14.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I did not have Vegas in my Stanley Cup Finals. I actually had Rangers Jets.
Yep. Rangers Jets. Interesting. Considering
Yes.
one of those teams didn't even make the playoffs.
Yeah, that would be the Rangers.
Yeah. So I'm one of the guys who always ends up doing the bracket challenge, and
Oh, really?
yeah. And I had Tampa Bay and Winnipeg. I'm a Lightning fan, so they were definitely, I thought, the best team.
They came close.
Not close. Close doesn't cut it in the Stanley Cup Finals or playoffs, Nick.
That's true.
But they choked it a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean they didn't score for 2.5 games, literally.
Yeah.
So you have to give a big round of applause, in my opinion. Maybe not so much to Ovechkin, really, but probably to Brendan Holtby, the goaltender for the Capitals. Because all year, if you looked at that team, and this isn't a specifically knock or anything like that, the team was relatively slow, especially defensively, a little bit up in age. So certainly it was one of those things where you sit there and go, okay, your goalie can only be as good as your defense. And you know how good Holtby is. Holtby is a very good goaltender still. Unfortunately, he didn't have the defense in front of him that allowed for that to happen. So what you had happen here is a tremendous playoff run as usual. Now on the other end, you look at Vegas, expansion team technically didn't exist really 48 months ago. didn't have a team up until within a few weeks from now for one full calendar year. And they come in and what some people call a team of misfits wasn't really a team of misfits. And they played well. They definitely surprised me. I had them getting knocked out actually by San Jose in the second round. So,
Paul, who was favored in the series?
Vegas was favored in the series.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought if it was Washington was favored, Vegas, not picking Vegas, it'd be pretty hilarious.
But no, it's a good thing you brought that up, really, to be honest, because you look at it, and it was really weird how you looked at it because you had teams. You look at Tampa Bay was going to be favored over Vegas, and Vegas was going to be favored over Washington. It was just interesting because the teams matchup wise, it would have been a really, I think, offensive battle with Tampa Bay and Vegas playing, and then you get to this series, and I thought it'd be more defense than anything else because I thought their lines matched up very well. With Vegas, with Marchessault going up against Ovechkin for the most part, at least line technically wise.
We needed more fights.
I don't know about that. I mean, it was a pretty chippy series, especially the last game.
It definitely was.
So Game 5 was extremely chippy, I thought. You look at it, Tom Wilson was playing not dirty hockey by any means. Certainly an interesting way to go about things, though, playoff-wise. But you look at a lot of the guys that did well. Devontae Smith-Pelly, who you wouldn't call him a fourth liner by any means, but certainly not a top two liner, played incredibly well throughout the playoffs, especially in that final. So, yeah, hats off to the Capitals. You really have to give it to them. They provided the city of Washington their first championship since my Washington Redskins back in 91 or 92. So,
And that's when we move on, Paul.
Yeah. So,
no Redskin talk. Not today.
I was giving it up for Washington a little bit, So next topic we got coming up here is going to be the NBA playoffs.
Here we go.
I know the NBA is something you absolutely love. So I'll give you a brief rundown of specifically the finals. There really is not much to run down specifically. Golden State swept Cleveland in 4 games. Kevin Durant, MVP, played absolutely out of his mind for the most part. Steph Curry, not absent, but certainly wasn't at the forefront of this game, of the series. But on the other end, you have LeBron James, who did play probably the best ball, maybe even better than Kevin Durant, to be fair. But you can't do much if you don't have anything around you.
My take on it is honestly this year's NBA playoffs was one of the more exciting playoffs, I would say. Honestly, I did not think that the Golden State Warriors would be playing the Cleveland Cavaliers in the finals. I really, really deeply thought it was going to be the Sacramento Kings playing the Charlotte Bobcats in the NBA Finals. But Cleveland, Golden State proved me wrong. In all seriousness, no. The Golden State Warriors were the best team.
Yeah.
They had 4 All-Stars, Draymond Green, Kevin Durant, Andre Iguodala, JaVale McGee. They just dominated the entire series. George Hill blew Game 1, not J.R. Smith. It was not J.R. Smith. What do you think about that?
Well, it's funny you bring that up because I don't necessarily think it was specifically on J.R., but there are 2 big plays in this game you can tie back to J.R. in reference to Game 1. And the first one's right before halftime when Steph Curry hits that 3. Because J.R. jumped the pass, completely missed, and you give Curry a wide open shot.
Yeah, honestly, if J.R. knows the score of the game, he grabs that ball and he puts it back up.
And you would hope so too, right?
But Kevin Durant was on him. He has a pretty, I think it was Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
And he has a pretty big arm length. Arm span.
Yeah, well, obviously. I mean, he's a Slim Reaper.
But that did not determine the series.
No, I don't think so either. But Game 1 always will set the tone for the series, and
yeah, that's true.
And really, in all honesty, Game 2 did not. It felt flat. If you're a Cavaliers fan, it looked flat. So.
Yeah. LeBron really, Cleveland really needed to take that series. Not the series, Game 1, to have any chance in the series.
Yeah.
And they did not.
So, I don't know if it ever felt like this to you. Cleveland, you get Cleveland going in Game 3 there at home, back home, and at the Quicken Loans Arena. And
That was a good game.
It was a very good game. It probably was honestly the best game in the series, in my opinion, if you're looking at it from a full perspective. But unfortunately, you look at it in this regard, is that they blow the lead essentially down the stretch in the fourth quarter, and it wasn't a big lead. It was pretty much back and forth. But I think I can't remember who it was exactly. It must like a layup or a gimme, and then they come down. I think it was KD hit a three.
Yep.
I mean, it just deflated. It took the air out.
Yeah, that was the three
for
they
most
thought. That was the three they thought.
Yeah.
KD, it looked like last year's three hitting the finals.
Yeah.
I think it was both game threes.
Yeah. So at that point, then the Cleveland misses another shot, and KD comes out and hits another free. And at that point, I felt the series was over. I mean, it just felt done.
No doubt.
And you figure maybe Cleveland gets Game 4, but you kind of know in the back of your head.
When they went down 3-0, that Cleveland was not showing up
No.
that night. No.
And speaking of not showing up, where will LeBron James show up or not show up
That
next
is
season?
the question.
So,
That is noble in the minds.
if you don't know,
Let's hear it, Paul.
LeBron has
Get to the point. Where's he going?
LeBron has the opt-out clause this summer that he can use, and will we get another Banana Boat reunion, or will he go somewhere that we're not expecting?
Who's on the banana boat?
Technically speaking, it's Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Paul, and Dwayne Wade's wife, Gabrielle Union. However, technically the players for the Banana Boat are LeBron, Wade, CP3, and Carmelo Anthony. That's technically the Banana Boat. So
Yeah.
I think
Where's he going, Paul?
he has obviously a whole laundry list of places he can realistically go. You look at the main ones in particular. Everyone's saying the Lakers. Houston's another big one. Stays in Cleveland. Boston's got brought up. Golden State's even gotten brought up. In my mind, there's realistically only two places you can go, but I think there's a third option. And I've told you this kind of on the side before. So I think, obviously, staying in Cleveland, I think, is the big one. I think the second one, I know a lot of people don't agree with it, but I think the main one also is probably going to end up being Miami, only because he's got the relationship with Wade, and albeit a bad one, but because Dwayne Wade's happy again, that relationship with Pat Riley. I think a third option, in all honesty, I don't think it's realistic, but I could see it happening, is retirement. Although I don't know how necessarily that will go.
Shut up. All right, Paul. I can see the Miami pick. I can see the Cleveland pick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see retirement.
Okay.
I don't see a Utah landing spot for LeBron. You know where he's going to go?
This ought to be good. I'm anticipating this.
He's going to go to the New York Knicks.
Wow.
There we go.
Whose jersey is that initially
That
anyway
is
here?
the GOAT, Frank Ntilikina.
It would be an interesting pairing.
He's going to look good in blue. But he's not going to New York
How do
because
you
of
know?
James Dolan.
He's got a good relationship with new head coach Dave Fizdale because of Miami.
Oh, yeah.
So
that could be a...
So I think
That could be one of
he'll talk.
reasons.
I think you'll see a lot of teams end up talking with him, and he'll give them meetings. I think the Knicks are one. I think you got to be realistic on that one if you're a Knicks fan. He'll always give you guys in the meeting because of Fizdale. Miami, obviously, Cleveland.
so.
I think Houston will definitely get an interview. I think the Lakers will get an interview. However, I think a big thing that some people think he'll do this. I don't think he will. Some people think he'll play with Paul George. I don't think he will. I don't
think that would work.
No, I don't think it. Look how well it worked in OKC this year with Paul George. He had 3 alphas on that team. It didn't work well in the end.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I think that will end up being the case, at least in my opinion. Because honestly, I just don't think he'll want to go and I don't know. He won't obviously go about it the same way he did in 2010. I just don't think he wants that same reaction he got in 2010.
He might.
Well, I think realistically, it's certainly a possibility. I don't think. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I think many people in Cleveland will accept the fact this time if he were to leave. Only out the fact that you look at this surrounding cast, it's not great. It wasn't I won't say it wasn't assembled great, but the product on court wasn't great.
I think they're still going to be. They're going to be a little upset.
Yeah.
Leaving them with Baker Mayfield.
Baker
leading that city.
You know, I wouldn't sleep on the Browns, but that's a different topic for another podcast down the road, I'm assuming. So we're going to move on now.
What's next?
We're going to move on to our pop culture segment here for a second. Rap beef. Drake versus Pusha T. Now,
Pusha who?
Pusha T. So, I don't know how much you know about it, Nick. How much do you know about it?
Well, Paul, I just did some research today.
All right.
I went on the old Wikipedia.
Yep.
And I looked up who Pusha T is.
All right.
I know who Drake is.
Okay.
He's an ambassador
Yep.
of the Toronto Raptors that choke every year. Pusha T is an American rapper.
All right.
Some of his hit songs. I'm going to read you a couple.
Okay.
I'm not going to sing them. Some of his hit songs are New God Flow,
All right.
Lunch Money,
All right.
Drug Dealers Anonymous,
Okay.
and this is a big one. Crutches, Crosses, and Caskets. Crutches, Crosses, Caskets.
All right. Interesting.
I got that one on my
So, what's interesting...
iPhone.
Off your iPhone. Nice.
Yeah, I listen to it while I run.
I'm sure you do. So, I'm going to give you a brief background of what I found out about this, because I kind of forgot about Pusha T for a little bit. I do know about him roughly, but... So,
Yeah, me too.
So the beef with him and Drake actually goes back a little ways to 2002.
Really?
Yes. So the initial beef was actually between Pusha T and our man Lil Wayne, Tucci. It goes back to 2002 when they were both getting really into the rap game. Both released diss tracks about each other. So this goes on for off and on like every other year until about 2012, 2013, when Drake decides to release a track in a line that goes against Pusha T and his dealings with Kanye West's label Good Music, which Pusha T is still president of, by the way. So this kind of dies out after the first year of it in 2013, only to get resurrected really in the past month or so, when Pusha T releases a new album, essentially claims Drake has ghostwriters. This leads to Drake essentially dissing Kanye and Pusha T at the same time. Pusha T then decides to drop this bombshell on the world that Drake has a son, or a child, that nobody knows about. And then Drake essentially threatens another diss track that would ruin Pusha T, and now apparently the beef is over. I have a hard time believing that.
Oh,
that's
darn.
where it's at. But rap beef has been an interesting spot recently.
Still talking, Paul.
Yeah, I can admit it over you now.
I don't know a Pusha T song. I've never heard Lunch Money. I lied. But I have to go with Drake here. I like Trophies. I think he plays Save That Money. Is he featured in that?
No.
No. Little Dicky though. Can we talk about Little Dicky for another show? I need to talk some more about Little Dicky.
He just dropped.
Maybe I am Little Dicky.
He's got no full album coming out here, I believe. Over
Yeah,
the
I
summer,
can't wait.
So it should be good. He already released a single off of it, Freaky Friday, which is pretty good in my opinion. But
Yeah, it was. I like it.
it is kind of weird to
But
see.
Pusha T? No.
But it is kind of weird to see where rap beef's kind of gone as well. You know, it used to be like if you actually like dissed people, you were like you had a Biggie and Tupac situation occur.
Why is it always rap beefs?
It's weird.
Why can't Blake Shelton just go at it with FGL? Florida Georgia Line.
They're all friends over on
Country
that side.
beef.
It's weird. They all perform with each other.
Bruno Mars, you suck, Ed Sheeran.
I don't think that would happen, but you never know. It's weird how celebrities beef with each other, in my opinion.
They do get fame off of it.
Yeah, I mean,
I've never heard of Pusha T.
I honestly think a lot of it is just a selling tactic. But I mean, I don't know how you feel exactly about it. I know I feel as though it's a lot of the times it's just randomness that you're either A, selling something, or B, has no merit to it. You know. So, I don't know if you got anything else for this.
I have nothing else, Paul.
You got nothing else. All right, so
Pusha T.
with that in mind, we're going to move on to the next big thing over the sports weekend, which is Justify winning the Triple Crown. Justify won by about 4 lengths over Gronkowski, the Gronk Orton horse. Becomes back-to-back Triple Crowns winner with American Pharoah. Bob Baffert gets a Triple Crown. Mike Smith becomes the oldest jockey to win the Triple Crown. And by the way, Nick, I don't know if you saw this today, signed a $75 million breeding contract for the rest of its days. Not a bad way to live.
Hey, we all love sex, right? We need more Justifies out in the world. But if I have to say something about this Triple Crown, I think it's a tad overrated.
Really?
Yeah, so he won by 4 lengths, right?
Correct.
And I believe his time was 2:28.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you know Secretariat, the great Secretariat,
Yes.
did it in 2:24?
Yes.
American Pharoah did it in 2:26.
Okay.
And if I ran it, I would do it in like 3:37. And so each length is about, they say about a second is 10 lengths. A second is 10 length. 1 second equals 10 length. If you take that 4 seconds, I believe it was 4.6 seconds from Secretariat, and Justify was running in that race. They just ran the race, and Justify was all the other horses were in the race. If you take that by 4.6 seconds times 1, that equals 38 length. 38 lengths, and
Look at you doing math.
yeah, I just did it all of a sudden, and that means Justify would not even come close to Secretariat, and that's why Secretariat is the greatest horse of all time. Your
Secretariat? No, I agree with that. I mean, I think I think you look at Secretariat. I mean, Secretariat is widely considered, even some people will consider Secretariat the horse. The horse, mind you, one of the best athletes of all time in general.
thoughts? Yeah, like if there was the Mount Rushmore of athletes,
Yeah.
you got Serena Williams,
Okay.
you got Tiger Woods, you got Cole Calhoun, and you got Justify. No,
Okay.
Secretariat. And that is the Mount Rushmore of no, let me fix it. Cole Calhoun, off it. Secretariat's on it. How many did I say was on? Forget this. Forget the Mount Rushmore of it's Tiger, Peyton, Secretariat, and myself on the Mount Rushmore of athletes.
Interesting. Okay, because I know many people consider probably Justified to be the closest thing we'll see to Secretariat. Even that's just based on the size of the horse, speed of the horse, and everything like that. And it's pretty crazy to know that if this is the closest thing we're going to get to Secretariat, that this horse will have lost by somewhere in like the 20 lengths or so area. And it really is, in my opinion, something that, I mean, you say it's overrated. I think it's really cool. It's something that we ourselves hadn't seen yet in our lifetimes up until, what was it, 2 years? Last year? 2 years? I can't remember which one was the first one.
2015.
Yeah.
American Pharoah one.
Yeah, so it's just crazy to me to think that it took that long and then we finally got it back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, and I don't know if you know this, Paul, the stats of the Triple Crown.
Okay.
They come in bunches. So we had like four in the 40s.
Okay.
We had like 3 in the 70s.
Okay.
And now we have like 2 in the 10s. That's like 7 Triple Crowns in like the last 50 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, and they
There's only, 13 overall, right? Or so, 13?
13 overall,
Yeah.
yes. And yeah, and when they happen, they come in bunches. So I would not be surprised if one happens next year.
Yeah, so, and that's a cool thing, too, about this is you got Bob Baffert, who has essentially got
The GOAT.
a training dynasty, if you will, about this now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, obviously going forward, even the big races coming up the rest of the year, Breeders' Cup, and that sort of deal. You know, his horses will probably be
Finger legs.
will be the prime picks, favorites, if you will, going into going into each race. So it's, in my opinion, it's cool.
Yeah.
And certainly be interesting down the stretch here to see what happens with Justified. I don't know. He probably won't race again.
We need more people getting into the sport of horse racing, like Paul here. Paul, you did some jockeying back in the day, didn't you?
No, I did not.
No?
No. Neither of us match the
Then what are you
size
doing on
for it.
Saturdays? You're definitely jockeying on Saturdays.
Saturdays, no, I'm at home because I don't have to work. Yeah. So we're going to move on now to one of the last topics we got, and that's the U.S. Open coming up at Shinnecock Hills this weekend, teeing off Thursday, starting of the tournament. ending on Sunday, Father's Day. Shinnecock Hills down in Southampton, New York. I don't know how you properly pronounce it, down on Long Island. Little fast facts about it. It's the oldest golf club in America. Also, it will be hosting its 5th U.S. Open this year. Clubhouse favorites Gabi Dustin Johnson played extremely well last weekend at St. Jude at TPC Southwind. Absolutely hit the ball amazing at the tournament. So with that in mind, I'm sure I know what your favorite's probably going to be coming in.
I have to say, if I have to say something, Dustin Johnson won last week, right?
That is correct.
No one has ever won the week before and then won the U.S. Open.
Really? That's a nice little fact you dropped right now.
Yeah, so Dustin Johnson,
really?
He's gone.
All right.
Ricky Fowler, chokes,
Wow.
gone. Tiger Woods, Tiger Woods. Put your face back up there, Paul. What do you think about Tiger?
So I think the cool thing here is, and I got a couple of names written down because of the way this course is. It's a links-style course. That means school play really well for these guys who just crush the ball and drive it. So with that in mind, I think a couple names you got to throw in the mix here just because you definitely have to include Rory. I think you got to include Ricky, Jason Day, Duffner, Stenson. I think you also have to throw Bubba Watson in the mix only because of how he drives the ball.
Phil Mickelson's never won the U.S. Open.
Actually, one of the last times they played the U.S. Open at Shinnecock, he was runner-up. I believe it was
he's been runner-up.
I believe it was 2004.
At Shinnecock, really?
Yeah, 2004, I believe it was, when he was runner-up at Shinnecock when they had it.
Yep.
So, but I will say this, and I've always said this, and I will live by it and stay by it. If Tiger on Sunday is wearing red, watch out.
Well, not to burst your bubbles, ball, but when he plays on Sundays, he typically wears red every time.
I'm talking about that solid red though. You know, like that solid red, that like mid 2000s peak golf Tiger red. That's the red I'm talking about.
Sure, ball. Yeah, I mean, I think Tiger could play well here. He's been playing well of late, and he might be my pick. Paul, you want to wager something here on our who does better here on the U.S. Open? Maybe lunch or something.
Well, considering
Dewey's.
I don't know.
You want to, whoever does better in the U.S. Open buys the other person lunch at Dewey's.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so I'll let you pick the whole field, and I'll.
Well, you seem very confident, so I want you to pick then, because if you seem so confident.
My pick is Jon Rahm.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He's one of the better players.
Yeah, he is creeping up.
I don't really have any other explanation about it. I'm just gonna pick Jon Rahm, and I've never lost a contest versus you, Paul.
That's a lie, but okay.
All right, Paul, it's your pick.
So if you're going to give me the option, I'm going to go Dustin Johnson. I don't care about this stat. He's playing well right now. He's number 1 in the world. I mean, he's just hitting the ball really well so far this year.
Yeah.
And this course will play well to, I think, his skill set. And I think that's something you got to watch out for with him, especially when he gets in that groove, right? He just does extremely well, and I think that's something you have to keep your eye on. And it goes for, I think, a lot of the other golfers, too, though. I mean, these guys, like I said, these guys who drive the ball well, Bubba Watson, Duffner, Day, even Ricky, Rory, I mean, all these guys, if they drive it and you keep it straight, it's going to be extremely, extremely fun to watch down the stretch, in my opinion.
That's not a bad pick.
No, so...
but Jon Rahm's just going to do better.
Yeah. So, with that in mind, Nick, any closing thoughts here as we head on out for the night?
You know, if we get canceled after this first episode, it was just an honor to work for this company. And, Fresh Takes should be a good time. I mean, if you send us back to the couch, I'm not going to like it. But, yeah, we'll talk about stuff in the later episodes.
Yeah, so I think...
play some games.
So, obviously, I just want to thank everyone for tuning in and watching it later on, if that's the case. I want to give a big thank you to Zach, who was in studio with us to help today. Zach, if you want to come on over, show your face.
What's up, Zach?
There he is.
Guys?
So big thanks to Zach and the rest of the people here at FL1 who helped us out. But big thanks to Zach for stepping on in tonight to help us out. And Nick, you seem eager to tell us something really quick, so I'll throw it over to you.
Yeah, I'm just my big thing I'm gonna do. Like everyone needs that big thing, you know how PTI they do it. See you later, knuckleheads, or whatever they say. I'm gonna do a shout out after every episode. Shout out Justin Hillwell.
All right, Nick, it's been fun, and hopefully for the rest of you, we'll catch you in 2 weeks technically. 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
June 26th.
That's your
Same
birthday.
time. Yeah, it is. Way to remind people now. It's 2 weeks, June 26th, 10 o'clock, same time, same place. And hope you all have a fantastic week, and we'll catch you on the next pod.
See you later.